Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today for our webinar, How to Prepare for the Transition from Management Reporter to JET Reports. My name is Katie and I'll be the facilitator today. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question area in the control panel on the right-hand side of your screen and we'll answer questions at the end. The session will be recorded and posted on our blog as well as shared with you later this week. Now I would like to introduce our presenter today, Don McNulty, who's a Solutions Architect at Encore. Don, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you. Well, welcome all and good morning or afternoon if you're on the East Coast. So today we're going to talk a bit about transition from Management Reporter to JET Reports. So quickly look at the agenda. There it is. Okay. So a couple of questions, why move and why now, general concerns, then we'll do a little quick demo and then we'll answer some questions. So pretty straightforward. So today, why move and why now? Well, why move is Management Reporter has been sunsetted by Microsoft. We were notified of this in 2016 and we've been telling our clients ever since. Its last update is supposed to be sometime in 2026, and that will be the last time that it will be updated for new releases of software such as SQL and or GP. So that's one of the reasons to move now. The other reason is for other abilities and ease of use. What kind of features do we need? What kind of support do you need? So we need to think about those things. So underneath the general concerns, in the Management Reporter area, we have rows, columns, and trees. And we're going to show this in JET Reports. And rows are just rows in Excel instead of rows in a row spec. Columns are the columns in Excel, so that works out really quite nicely because most of us know Excel very well. And then the trees are some formulas that you can learn in JET in order to expand out your things and break out your financial statement by department or division or whatever you wish to call it. There's some security issues that we need to talk about, and then there's drill down. So those are the main concerns. So let me just talk about some of the features. So some of the things that people in JET, the big reason for moving to JET is that it's an Excel-based reporter. It means that your learning curve is significantly less, and you can maintain your reports in an Excel format that you're used to formatting things in. Everything is what you see is what you get, just like Excel. All formulas in Excel work, so you can apply graphing and charting and everything else to it as well as any of the formatting that you wish, conditional formatting, changing the colors if it's red or black for profit and loss and things like that. It's not a problem. On the other side, Management Reporter has some good features, and there's no doubt about that. So the features themselves, one of the features that Management Reporter has is the ability to send files or links to a third party who can then look at that thing and drill down to a certain degree against it. There is a little bit better security inside Management Reporter because it's dedicated to Management Reporter, whereas in JET Reports, it is Excel security. So while we can secure the Excel report, it is quite time consuming to do so. On the support side, obviously the support is going away for Management Reporter, so we need to be concerned about that. At ongoing support, we currently maintain Management Reporter and we currently maintain JET Report people. We do both internally, and so I'll be showing you that. Rows and columns. Rows are just formulas. I'll show you how to do those very quickly today. I'll talk about columns today. I won't get a lot into the trees today because I don't have enough time. Security-wise, we talked about that already. And then I'll briefly mention how the drill down works inside JET. All right, so let's go. Come on, switch slides. I don't know why my mouse is not working. All right. Okay, so what we have here is Management Reporter. We've all seen this before. There we are. Make sure that it's there. All right, so I'm going to look up the income statement with default accounts. And when I open this up, it's going to open up for the 9 months. I'm going to go to the 4 months ending 2027. My demo data is in 2027. So I need this in order to get some data. So we've got an income statement default, and we've got some periodic year to date. Okay. So inside here, I'm going to select the default income statement default. There we are. And then I'm going to generate. So when I generate, it generates the thing. It's going to generate my different pages so you can see them all. I'm going to do all of them. So I'll just go select all, and I'm going to go OK. This is a standard functionality inside there. So what we have here is a standard income statement account. I'll be dealing with income statement. Balance sheet works exactly the same. There's some small differences in the formula, but that's about it. So the other side of the column is while that's generating, I'm going to bring up Excel. So in Excel, we write a page that we call the options page in JET. And this is where we put in fiscal periods that we're going to be using, which is these 2027. Here's my GP year. Here's the current period. Here's the opening period. I got some calculations. Anything that's not green is tied to those for those particular ones. So these are all, this is a lookup table in order to get me the right date so that I would get February 28th on there, or the 31st instead of the 30th. So this is something that I link back to inside JET. So a standard JET page that you would be adding. We provide this to you as part of the JET training. We get a page that looks like this. These are my departments down here, but your departments could be different, and then your divisions if you've got them. And so that's kind of what I have here right now. So when I go to that, I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to talk about columns while that's generating in the background, because it's the columns are the easiest part to convert. So basically what we have here is I have a current year to date, I have a last year to date, and I have a current year to date, and a last year to date. Those are things that we would ordinarily want. And the things that I've got up top here are, I've got my company, which is Fabrikam. I've got my start and my end date. So this is period 4 to period 4, and this is period 1 to period 4, because I want year to date. And then I've got a department. And then on the right-hand side here, I have an account, and then I have segment number 3. So my department is segment number 1. So that's going to be 000, 100, 200, 300, 500, etc. So if I go back to here, and I go into my web browser here, and I have to sign in here. So when I sign in here, it loads up management report, and you'll see there's April and there's the year to date. I didn't bother putting the other 2 columns on in management reporter, but I will put them on in JET because it's quite simple to do. So here's kind of the numbers that I'm looking for. I'm looking for like $183,940 is my total earnings for the period. My check digits are 0, so I know I've got all the information. And there it is there. If I go into here, you can see that I have my different pieces, and I can click on sales. And that shows me that I've got some sales costs, but no revenue from sales. And if I go to my 000, you'll find I've got revenue, but very little cost. So that's just my demo data. So this would be the drill down for all those different things. So when I go to the summary of all units, which brings me back to where I was. So I'm going to keep this open for the time being so that we can take a look at this, and I'll just minimize it. So the question becomes, how do I convert? And the idea behind today's seminar is to talk about how we can convert existing MR reports easily and quickly into JET reports. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the rows. So inside here, I have a row definition that looks like this. This is pretty standard row definition. I've got some information down the side, which is just keyed, and then I've got my totals in the middle, and I've got inside here, I've got things like account. I got account ranges listed here so that I picked up all my accounts. I got a couple where it needed 2 ranges. I could have multiple accounts or whatever you happen to have in there. So in order to convert this, we need to put all of this into Excel. Well, I'm a lazy person from that point of view. I really don't want to do I really don't want to do this by hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything just by clicking the top corner, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to go copy. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to stick it in row F, right about here, about 20. And I'm going to go paste. So there it is. And then I'm going to unwrap the text because I don't want it wrapped. I need it nice and flat. So there we are. So this is what we need. This is my detail transactions down the side. And then down here, I've got all my account numbers. Now, because I need the account number, I want the account number on this line here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this here. I'm going to take all of the account numbers here. Just go to the bottom here, and I'm going to just copy them so I've got a backup of them. Okay? In case I do something wrong during Excel, but there it is there. Now I've got 2 columns. They're exactly the same. Going to highlight both of those. Going to make these a little wider so we can see what's going on. There we are. Now, inside here, I'm going to just highlight all of this again, just on the one that I'm going to work on. I'm going to go to the top one here. I'm going to use a function inside Excel called find and replace. And I'm just going to do a few quick replacements. I'm going to take plus account. Oops. Space equals space. And I'm going to replace it with nothing. I'm just going to go replace all. There it is there. Gets rid of all the account, 31 replacements. Perfect. There we are there. And then I'm going to go into here and I'm going to take this and I'm going to take the open bracket and I'm going to replace all. And then I'm going to take the close bracket and I'm going to replace all. There we are. So now I've got it down to a number with a colon in the middle there. The thing about JET is that JET doesn't use colons. JET uses double dots. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the single colon and we're going to replace it, with double dots. And we're going to go replace all. There we are. So now I've got these inside here. I'm all done here. I can go control, just go OK, we'll close this. So what I've done is I've basically stripped out the information in the middle, and this would then work against all your different pieces, and you might have plus signs and you might have spaces. And then we go control C, and I'm going to move that over to here and go control V and paste it in there. So I'm now done with my accounts, but not really, because when I get down to this one here, JET's not going to recognize this. The reason JET's not going to recognize this is that JET uses double dots for ranges, and it uses what's called a pipe. And the pipe looks like that, and it is found under the shift key above the enter. So above the enter, there's a line straight down and a slash. It's the line straight down. It's called the pipe. So we change that to a pipe, and I've got one more that I need to change inside here. And I put in a pipe like so. And now I'm ready to go. So at this point, I am now almost finished. I have now finished my specs. Now, I'm going to pick up all segments. So I'm going to use a wildcard, which is a star, which I can do from here. And we'll do a little bit of copying here, Control C. We'll go paste, 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 and paste. There we are. So now I've got all 3 of my segments. I have my main segment. I have my first segment here. My second segment in my chart of accounts happens to be my account. My third segment is my division. So there we are there. So now I've got all 3 pieces of information. I have the date and everything else. So now I can go into JET really quickly. So now when I go into JET reports, click on JET reports, and I click on the GL function, like so, and it's going to bring up a box. And the box is going to tell me what I need to do in order to put a formula in here in order to replace what I had before. What do I want? Well, what do I want is I want to put it in the cell. What do I want? I want the balance. I don't want the budget or the account name, but I want the balance. I don't want an account because this is a group of accounts and I want to break it into the 3 different segments. So I'm going to go to the start period and I'm going to pick up my start period. Now, absolute and relative referencing. F4 toggles you through your dollar signs. So in this particular case, I want to lock down row 8, but change H. So when I copy H to I want it to change. Okay? So then I come down to the end period, and I do the same thing, except I pick the end period, and I do the same thing. Then I move down. Segment number 1. Segment number 1 is going to be from here. And again, I want to look to the 5th row, but I want it to move across. Segment 2 is the account. I need to lock down D because I need it to move. I want it to stay on D. Always look to D even when I move across, and I want it to copy down because I want to be able to copy this formula down. Segment 3 is that. And then the last, but certainly not least, is the company, which I put up here. And the reason I put the company here instead of on the main page is if I want to do a consolidation, I can put company number 1 in one column, company number 2 in another, company number 3 in another, making your consolidations that much easier than they were before. And again, I need to lock that down to 7 because I need it to copy down with it. Don't need the data source or anything like that. It's going to use the default data source off the top. And I'm going to go OK. And when I go OK, whoops, I get a number. Now, I'm going to go back to my home and do a little bit of formatting on this number. I'm going to make it a accounting number, and I'm going to get rid of the pennies because I really don't care about pennies. And realize, well, oh, sales came through as negative. Well, that's because it's a credit balance. In Management Reporter, you see the C here. That's what changed it before. So we need to put a minus sign in front of here in order to flip the sign across. There we are. So now we can go like this, and I can copy that cell down, and I can get the balance there. And if I go back to my Management Reporter here, you'll see there's the 384. Now, I can also now take this and go Control C, and I can copy it into here. So I can put it in there. And again, you'll see that the number is exactly, whoops, sorry, wrong one. See the 121,252. But because I copied it from a revenue account, I no longer need the C, so I need to get rid of the negative sign. There we are there. So now I can copy this, and I can copy it to there. And then I can copy it to there. And I can copy it to there. There we are. Now if I go back to my sheet, you'll see there's those same numbers coming through. Now, obviously my totaling columns need to be now redone. So what I'm going to do is we just use Excel for this. So inside here, underneath my total column, I'm just going to go equal sum, and I'm going to grab my revenue accounts, like so. And let me just go like this and go Format Painter, and there we are. Make it all the same. So there it is there. And in this particular case, I'm going to just use the regular border. I'm going to put a top border on it like so. There it is there. Now, because of that, I no longer need these triple dots. So I can get rid of those. I can just delete the row, and now it looks like it's regular. Okay, so the reason I'm keeping these numbers here is that I need to know what these formulas are. So I don't need this anymore because I've just done that one. And then this one here is an equal sum of these three. We can close the bracket, and we can Format Paint into here, and we can Format Paint into here. And this is equals revenue minus costs equals 264. And again, I can delete this. I don't need it. And I delete this because I don't need it. And now I've got my gross profit where I expect it. I no longer need these two either, so I can clean that up as I go down. This one here, I do the same thing. I go equal sum. And this time I pick up all my expenses. I get this. Again, I put the column on top. And I can get rid of this. There it is there. This is gross profit minus expenses, like so. And again, you do a little bit of formatting here, get rid of that. And I'm going to get rid of this line here. We'll just go delete. I'll leave an extra line in the middle. That's fine. And this one here is plus 940, which is this one here, minus 980, which is here. And I get the 183. And then down here, on my check amount right here, I just need to take a copy of this and paste it into here. There it is there, 183,940, and this is plus that, and I should get 0, which I do. So now I no longer need this. Make sure there's nothing at the top. We hit like so. And now I've got my columns, and I don't need any of this. So there we are. So now I'm nice and clean on this particular one here. I could put the percentages in if I wanted to. Those percentages would just be Excel formula as required, 100% of sales, etc. I'm going to leave those blank for now. So at this point, we seem to be good to go. At this point, if I go into here and, whoops, keep clicking that one instead of the web browser, you'll see the 183,940, 193, 163.81, etc. So all these numbers are exactly the same. And I've got dashes instead of zeros. This particular one must have some miscellaneous cost that's less than a buck. So now comes the real power about Excel, is if you've written your formulas correctly, you can now do this to here and go Control C. So we copy that. And then we paste it into last year. We paste it into the year to date. And we paste it into the year to date. And we can get rid of this. There you go. There is the 4 columns that you need. We no longer need these C's. And this is the actual numbers from there. There is last year to date, last year to date, current year to date. And you'll see that the numbers have all changed automatically. And they are now, that is your financial statement completed. That's pretty good. There we are there. So that's what you do there. We can put a C here and get rid of the C. There it is there. And I could make this, if I wanted to, I could put a negative in front of it if I wanted to see this as, whether I want to add this or subtract it, it's up to you as to how you want to do the check amounts. You know, you then hide these things so that you don't see them because you don't want to see them on your report, but you need to see them to make sure that your report balances. And there you are. So there is a income statement. Now I did the same thing on this income statement right here. This income statement looks the same. I've also filled in these things inside here, and you'll see that the numbers are the same. So the difference here is that this is looking at department 000, okay, rather than star. So this is just department 000. So, and this here is linked back to here. And this one here is where we use a sheet. So I'm going to show you what this one is. And this is how a tree is then used. So what I do is I look at this where I take sheets, what, I'm taking segment number 1, which is this. And then what I do is I pick up segment number 1 from F4. That's the star. So I'm picking up all the segments, okay? When I pick up all the segments, it takes the very first one that it finds, which is 000, and puts it in. And then on these cells here, I've referred back to this cell here. Then when I run go on this, or run, what will happen is that I will get a page at the bottom, and I will show you that. We'll just hit the run. And what this does is this calculates, and the bottom here is going to change. So at the bottom, instead of just having 000 there, it's going to have 000 for one page. It's going to have another sheet That's going to be 100, 200. These are all the different ones that I've got. So if I go to here and I drill down to admin, which is 100, when I look at the 100 here, I now have those same numbers, 2966, 2966, and I've got all the other numbers beside it. And I have all of the different sheets, one for each of my departments. So there it is there. This is based on financial administration. You'll see at the top here, it says financial administration. When I click on 300 here, it says sales. And if I go back to my sheet here and I grab sales, there's my $69.48 and the $300 up in the cost of sales. So basically, I've reproduced the whole thing in one big spreadsheet for that. And so we've got year-to-date income, that's the full one. That's the summary page. There's each individual one. I've then done a third one here, which we would provide you as well. These are just showing, this is 100 to 199, 200 to 500, 000. Then combined together, I get those same numbers that we've got there. And that is basically the same kind of idea that we've got from there. And this is how the options page. And if I was to change this to period number 3, like so, and hit enter, you'll notice that all of the stuff in here changed to March. Let me go run. See if it's... I've got period number 3 now, and when I go to my year-to-date here, you'll see that it now says March at the top, and I now have my new numbers because it doesn't total the same. And I have the same thing for each of these as well. So that's now been changed. All you do is change the one number. Everything else changes. This is all Excel. So up top here, we've got things like where do we get this from? We're getting the department. It's doing a VLOOKUP for the departments. It's got a statement of earnings. It's got the current period, which is the 3, and then the periods ended, which is just there, and then a rep title, which is on the first page, which gives you a nice text-based version of the date. So these are just things. This is just strictly Excel. This is concatenation, but that's part of the issue that we have inside when we use JET. All right. And I think that is all I had to show. So I'm going to open it up to questions. I'm going to leave the screen on instead of bringing up the slide that just says questions. So Katie, do we have any questions?
Son, we don't have any questions quite yet, but if anyone does have, please enter them into the question area in the control panel.
Okay.
Fortunately, Dawn, we are at time for today.
Yes.
So if anyone does have questions, you can again, please enter them in the question area in the control panel, or there is the post-webinar survey that will allow you to enter more questions, and we will get back to you by email later today.
Yeah. The one thing I will mention, which I did forget to do, is that inside here, when I click on any one of these, I get a drill down button here. And this drill down then allows me to take a look at different things. And it brings up what accounts they are inside there, what periods and debits and credits and balances and things like that. And then you can export this out to Excel. So there is a drill down. You can export to Excel. You can show all the columns. Okay, and that's something that's built into JET as well. So from there, and then we can close this up. I can just close the summary up, and then that works on any one of these. Each time I click on one, it gives me a drill down. So if I click this one here, it'll give me the year to date last year. There's 4 transactions in that one, and then if I go to year to date, it gives me a drill down, and it gives me more accounts because I've got different periods. Periods 1, period 2, period 3. So it gives you all the information that comes from there, and then you can export it, the current tab or all tabs. So I can export it out if I want to. So I can have as many different summaries down here as I wish. So just something quickly that I forgot. I did mention on my agenda that I would cover. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Dawn. Just to let everybody know, I've added the link to our events page in the chat if you'd like to check out previous webinars or register for upcoming sessions. I've also added the link where you could set your email preferences and opt into our emails so that you can stay in the know about upcoming events and see our latest blog articles. All right, so thank you, Dawn, for the information, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks all.